Hello everyone. Today we're carrying on with part 4 of our lecture series on designing your own restaurant concept. And today we're going to talk about probably the most exciting parts of any restaurant, which are the commercial area, or also called the table setting, table seating area, or basically where your customers are going to dine. As well, we're going to talk about kitchen, and we gonna close with a little bit about the back area and what's its purpose and how it has to be integrated within the design of your restaurant. So let's start. So when we're designing commercial area, we have to take a couple of things in consideration. The first thing we have to think of is the overall capacity that we want to create for our restaurant. Of course, as we do make our money from the commercial area, everybody wants to fit as many seating as possible, but you have to think of the size of the tables and the space that the chairs around those tables are going to take. So, of course, if you do have smaller tables, you'll be able to fit more of those, but you as well have to think of the comfort of your guests, so they don't have to just kind of feel really tighten up once when they're seated, and as well how many things you would like to set on the table and so on. So this is something very important to think of when you're planning your capacity. As I said, average table size, it's important. By this, except the actual size of each table, you have to think of what you want to create. Do you want to have more two tops? Do you want your restaurant to be more of a couples hangout, or you want to have a little bit more of bigger tables where you can sit bigger groups? Do you want your tables to be round or square or rectangular? Do you want them to be fixed in particular positions, or you want them to be able to move them around and do different configurations depending on the demand or reservations that you have. As well, you have to think of sitting options. By sitting options, I mean you have to think, do you want to offer only restaurant seating, or you want to offer lounge seating style, which will be most likely lower tables with sofas and like armchairs that are a little bit more comfortable, and maybe people there can have like snacks and drinks and just feel a little bit more relaxed. As well, maybe you would like to have a bar seating area, not only to have your guests standing at the bar or maybe sitting at high chairs, but maybe you want to have some high tables as well with some bar style seating that will be mostly suitable for drinks rather than a regular dinner. As well, we have to think flow of service, and we're going to talk a little bit more about this in one of the next slides. As well, you have to think of, depending on the concept that you're going to be designing, do you want to have private dining area? Do you want to designate a separate room, or somehow to separate a piece of the main commercial area so that people can have a little bit more privacy when booking this space? Of course, you have to think as well of interior design focal points. By that, I mean maybe if you have, let's say, a restaurant with a beautiful view, and of course people would like to enjoy this view when they're seated at the table, so you have to design your seating in a way that the most of your guests, of course it's never possible all of them to be able to enjoy the view, but most of them to kind of enjoy the view facing maybe your large French windows and so on. As well, maybe if you have a large chandelier in the middle of the commercial area, you would like to have maybe a big table to create additional atmosphere and kind of as well focus the focal point for the middle of the restaurant. As we discussed in the previous video, maybe if you've decided on a round or a square bar, the focal point of your restaurant will be that bar, and you want to design your restaurant commercial area around it. I also have a great example, and I welcome you to go and visit it. There is a beautiful restaurant called Gaucho O2, which is located in the Arena O2 in London. This restaurant has a big glass elevator exactly in the center of the restaurant, and all the tables are just located around this glass elevator, which is pretty cool. So I welcome you to go and check it out. I'll put a link below in the description so you can go and see this restaurant. As well, we have to think of separation. If you decide to have different seating options, as I said, like lounge, bar, and restaurant seating, it's good to think of some kind of a separation. That doesn't mean that you have to just smack a wall in the middle of your commercial area and close it down to two smaller spaces, but maybe you can use things like plants or some kind of design options, maybe just gradually having bar to lounge to restaurant seating as a form of a separation. Or you can talk with your designers of actually seeing what they would suggest as a separation. If you would like to separate your restaurant commercial area, you can as well use things like long booths, double-sided long booths, or also called like a sofa, to just separate two dining areas or something like that. So think about separation and how you want the different seating in your restaurant to be separated from one another without actually having to separate them in as different rooms. In a sense of guest preferences, you have to consider your major clientele. What I mean by that, if you have, let's say, Western Europeans, they, from my experience, I can say that Western Europeans like their dining to be as private as possible. So people will be most likely requesting tables on the side. So that means that it's maybe a good idea, if this is your clientele, to design as many tables on the sides of your commercial area and have less, maybe bigger tables in the middle, as normally larger groups do not really mind being in the center, as they kind of entertain themselves and they're kind of a party usually, so they wouldn't really mind being in the center. While if you have clientele, let's say like in Dubai, where you have primarily Arabs, they like to be in the middle of everything, in the middle of happening, and people will be most likely requesting tables in the middle of your sitting area, where everybody can see them and they can be really at the heart of what is happening during service in the restaurant. So you have to take those things in consideration as well when you're planning and designing your commercial area. As I said, the service flow is very important, and here I have done a really simple scheme where you can see just a normal table setting. As you can see, in the two corners we have larger tables with booth and some smaller tables in between them, and fours and two tops at the rest of the commercial area. As you can see, it's good to have them to have a easy to follow and kind of a service flow that will make sense as for your servers, as well for your customers. So this is, as you can see, this particular scheme allows an easy pickup from the kitchen and an easy drop off when the servers are moving only in one direction, which in this particular example is anti-clockwise. So you can have the service flow clockwise or in any pretty much direction that you want to, but it's good to design it in a way that it's only following one direction. This will allow your servers to easily serve each table. That will prevent any bumps or any kind of even if you want to put it that way, traffic jams within your servers, and it as well allow your guests to feel that the people are moving in one direction, which, believe it or not, gives them a sense of comfort and a sense of order and a good organization. If you have the tables, let's say, arranged randomly, a clear service flow will be difficult to design. So this is another thing that you have to think of when you're planning your commercial area. How to create the atmosphere. This is a little change on the first configuration that we discussed. As you can see, I have actually placed some large tables in the four corners of the commercial area and one in the middle. As I mentioned, large tables are normally louder, they're normally more animated, and they don't mind where they're seated. When you position tables equally, large tables equally amongst the other tables, you can create atmosphere, as large tables create more buzz, and as well you allow your servers to serve them easier rather than if they're cramped in one area. And also you allow enough tables in between so that the other guests will feel the atmosphere, but they won't feel overpowered. If you have, let's say, all the big tables on one side, as I said, that will create difficulty for the servers to actually serve them. And as well, it's going to create a lot of noise and a lot of, even if you want to say atmosphere on one side, and then it's going to be super quiet, almost like a tumbleweed old Western town on the other side. So, and nobody would like to sit there, or alternatively, nobody would like to sit closer to the really large parties where it's quite a lot of noise. So this is something that you have to plan. It's very, very important. You have to equally distribute the larger tables in your commercial area so that you create atmosphere, but you do not disturb too much the rest of your customers. As I said, if you distribute equally your large tables, it will be easy to as well then separate your commercial area into service sections where not one server will be taking care of too many large tables, as normally bigger groups are more difficult to serve. They have more demands and they basically take more time and more effort from one person to take care of them. So if you have an equal distribution of your larger and smaller tables, you'll be able to then plan the service sections later on in the operation so that your servers can be effective and really, really take proper care of your guests. I know this is more concerning the operational stage, but as we talked about in the previous videos, when we're designing anything, including the commercial area, we have to think of functionality. And actually having a functional, easy to serve commercial area is very, very important. So we have to consider this in the planning stage. Moving on to kitchens. So there are a few major types of kitchen. You can have a closed kitchen, which basically the customers do not have access to this one. The benefits of it is, of course, you can have a more flexible design. You can have as well connected to that the prep areas and the storage area, but it takes away of what is happening. And kitchens can be also used as part of the entertainment or part of the branding, which is really not possible when you have a closed kitchen. When you have an open plan kitchen, like in this picture, and you can see here, it's on the right hand side, it's kind of a quite long kitchen. You can actually create some kind of an entertainment of your customers while they watch the chefs preparing their food, which is really, really cool, but it is not always possible, as when you have an open kitchen, you have limitations on your air conditioning, and not all menus and all kitchens can actually be designed in a way to be placed within the commercial area without having basically kitchen smell and food smell spread around the commercial area. So this is something that you maybe have to discuss with your engineer or with your designers, or at least with your head chef, if that will be possible to be designed. You can as well have an open plan kitchen as part of the main focus, and this is a sushi bar where looking at the skill of the chef preparing the food can be part of the entertainment, and people would like to sit as close as possible to the food preparation, and you can use open plan kitchen as the main entertainment or focus point of your commercial area. And back in service area, it is very, very important to design a good back service area, which can be anything from corridors where your staff can pass and move from one to the other part of the restaurant without having to go through the commercial area. And as well, this is where you're going to be positioning your storage space, your staff room, and maybe delivery as staff entrance. And we're going to talk a little bit more about each of those components in the next video. I hope really you enjoyed this video and you find it useful and helpful. This is all from me today, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks a lot and have a good day. Bye-bye.